Welcome to another serutvendatobor. Alright guys, so this is going to be an exclusive thing that I just made for you guys, and I got my webcam here because I did it first on my using my little camera, but turned out it was like almost 3 gigs, and all I really want to do is just tell the story. So I went over the story with SSJ, and I sent it to a few of you guys, answering the problems and stuff like that. And I was thinking, that's good. That I just wanted to tell the story and let you guys know what I want to do, and because I just wanted to get it out there. And today is the 15th of December. I finished the story about, I don't know, about maybe a month ago, I'd say. 8 to 8. The only references I had were the first 2 movies and the Defiance, Starscream's Reign, and Alliance. Those 3 were the only really bits of information I could go with. I didn't read Ghost of the Past or Ghost of the Yesterday, so maybe I should do that, but I really can't see it affecting too much the story because of, the movies. They set the characters in position. If those events happened, the characters would still go back into the position of the movie. So, yeah, I don't know what the comics will do after this. I really have a hard time believing they could sum it up unless they actually thought of things, and they came up with another answer, which would be really interesting. But yeah, I don't know. There seemed to be so many plot holes and problems with the first 2 movies that yeah, it seemed difficult to solve for, which took me since whatever the end of the second movie back in whatever year that was, or whatever. When was that? Summer? Yeah, since then till about a month ago to just kind of finally settle down on how everything should play. And so let's see, we're at 4 minutes now. What other things I'd like to thank you guys who listened to this, or I sent you guys the problems and try to get any feedback. Didn't really, I mean, the feedback was very good, but I'd already thought of those things, and they kind of the other problems in the plot holes seem to cancel that out. And so, as far as I figured, the way I wrote it is maybe the best way I can figure so far. I mean, there might be another way, but I don't know. So that's why I'm making this. And like I said, I did this before, and it took about only half of the story, half of the movie, to up to the end of the second movie, took about 30 minutes to tell. So, yeah, so I would say, if you want to hear the story as I solve for all of the plot holes in Transformers 3, just, put this on speaker, go do something else, and listen to me as I tell the story. because you're looking at 30 minutes here. And I'm going to be eating and drinking, and there's nothing really to look at. You look at her vagina here. I mean, this figure is so much better than those two fucking ladies. That's just me, you know. Well, which brings me to the point, I cannot solve for shit like this. Why is she here like this in the first movie, but then she wasn't like that in the second movie? I didn't solve for that. Why are the characters stupid? I can't solve for stupidity. I can just solve for stuff like, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. Why didn't they do this? Why did they do that? That's what I solve for. I can't solve for the whole Transformers universe either. I mean, this is only movie universe. Things that happen in movie universe or that can happen in movie universe. I know things happen differently in other Transformer universes, other timelines, but we're just sticking with Transformers movies universe. So, yeah, some things are, I mean, we're gonna have to stretch a few things, but I don't think they're beyond the realm of possibility. So here we go. The story leading up to the end of movie 2. So I'm going to just tell it chronologically, and I'm going to try to balance expedience with details, and I'm going to try to save a few things for when I try to animate it. So, like dialogue and stuff. I won't get into dialogue. I'll just get into chronological order of things that happen and why they happened, and maybe solve for some things. But I'm going to try to do it that way. It took 30 minutes last time, so let's give it a go. So, in the beginning, like 20,000 years ago, the Fallen wanted to stop the Omega Point, or when Unicron will try to kill Primus. So, he went over to see what the deal was with Unicron. Why was he so dangerous? Why did Primus worry about him? And he found Unicron as just an asteroid. And it's like, well, why the fuck is this guy scary? And he tries to kill Unicron, and ends up Unicron corrupts him and makes the Fallen into one of his minions. So the Fallen is then ordered by Unicron to kill his brothers and take the Allspark from Cybertron. Yeah, so Unicron wants to kill Primus, as as he's a bad guy. So, come on, RC, stand up, you fucking whore. I don't know why she's bent over all fucking crazy. So he corrupts the Fallen and leaves him to go steal the Matrix. Jetfire, his apprentice, finds him and takes him back to Cybertron and leaves him there while he goes and tries to look for clues as to why the Fallen was, damaged and stuff like that, not knowing anything about Unicron or anything like that. The Fallen wakes up, he wakes up and he is in the Seeker's temple. So the Seekers and the Primes have their communication center at the Sumfer, that place that was in that Optimus Prime found in the comics. They communicate, the Seekers and the Primes communicate via these monoliths. So when the Seekers find a planet, they can radio back, so to say, to Cybertron and tell them, hey, get the fuck over here. We found a planet. Let's take the sun and harvest it. So the Fallen wakes up in that. She's just falling down. Wakes up in that temple, and it's like, well, where's Jetfire, my apprentice? So he's gone off to look for what happened to you. So the Fallen corrupts Starscream and Soundwave, and he gets all those guys under his control, and tries to lay a plan to take the Allspark and kill off his brothers, the 13 original Primes, except, 12 other Primes. He can't take the Allspark right away from Cybertron because, everybody will fight him. He's got to divide and conquer, so he sends, he lays a trap, sends 6 of the Primes over to a planet that was rejected for having life, and he sends 6 of them over to the planet. Unicron gave the Fallen some powers. For example, Unicron gave the Fallen the power to the power to combine Transformers. So Unicron, the Fallen made the Constructicons into Devastator. And so with Devastator, the Fallen is able to take the Constructicons. The Constructicons, of course, help build the Harvesters. He takes those guys, and when the Primes come, the six of the Primes come, he kills them, and he takes their spark and puts it into the Matrix. So to run the Harvester, you need 7 sparks. 7 being, the deciding vote on if there were 13 Primes, 7 needed to agree to harvest a planet. So he takes their sparks and puts them into the Matrix, and has Starscream bring him the Allspark, and as he tells the Keepers, okay, Keepers, we're going to harvest a planet. Yay! Let's get the Allspark over there. They put the Allspark in the Harvester, and they harvest it. They kill the planet. They kill the star, and Starscream takes the Allspark back to Cybertron, where he is, or the Keepers will later use it to re-energize the Cybertronians and make another generation of Cybertronians. The Fallen, of course, is also recharged, so he's really strong. The Harvester is like a space bridge transceiver. Of course, the old Transformers, like Jetfire and Seekers and stuff, can use space bridges, but only at a certain distance. So they need these transceivers to help teleport them across, large distances. So after the Allspark gets sent back with Starscream, the Keepers take it away, and then of course the Primes are supposed to follow. However, they being dead, really can't follow. So the Fallen rigs the space bridge transceiver to create some kind of to make it look like there was an accident, and all of the Primes were killed, or all the Primes they disappeared somewhere. There was an accident, so they're like in subspace or something like that. The Seekers back on Cybertron Starscream told the Shockwave to break down the space bridge and find out what happened to appease the Keepers. So they're like, okay, well, we'll investigate what happens. What happened? We think they're okay, but we'll investigate. So we shouldn't use the space bridge until we know what's going on. And the Seekers will contact the other primes on Earth. And let them know what's going on, and they can't use a space bridge right away, and so, don't worry, and please don't tell the rest of us, that we'll figure it out. We don't need to worry the general population. So, they keep it quiet, and they start recharging the people, and, so the Fallen takes, this time, with some Constructicons and some Seekers, goes over to Earth and tries to because he's really strong, tries to finish off the other primes and stuff, and take control of that harvester, and and pretty much start to control everything. And he's discovered by Perceptor here, realizes that the Fallen has the sparks of the other primes in the Matrix, and he killed them. So there's a big battle that takes place, and the Fallen tries to use Devastator, but as you know, Nexus Maximus is I think the Guardian of Raw Energon. He also is a Combiner, and so he has a power to manipulate that. So he can beat the Constructicons, and he takes them down. And Ultra Magnus is like the construction foreman, and he's really strong, and so he helps fight. And also they take the Matrix, and they try to separate the Decepticon forces, but the Fallen was like, well, we don't want to get separated, and everybody fall back and go back to Cybertron, and they have Shockwave reactivate the space bridge, and most of the Decepticons take off back to Cybertron. While they're fighting, the scouts come in, scouts like Hound and some of the other scouts, like Trailbreaker or something like that. They come in, and Hound manages to kill one, or kill one of the Decepticons, and take his identity and go back with the Decepticons back to Cybertron. So, and he wanted to find out what the fuck is going on. So, so then the Fallen's fighting with Ultra Magnus, and it's slowed down, and he finally gets into the Harvester, and he's like, oh, I'll come back here when you're all of you guys are in stasis lock, and I'll take the Harvester and everything. I'll take this planet, and he'll hunt down and kill all the primes and stuff like that with a huge army. And since they control the space bridges, all of the Cybertronians on Earth are pretty much screwed, as far as escaping, getting very far away, because they can only travel so far. But Perceptor and Wheeljack rig the space bridge to trap the Fallen in one of the transceivers very far away from Cybertron. So it will take the Cybertronians a long time to get over and rescue him from that transceiver. They have to travel by ship, and they can't use a space bridge, because if they do, they'll kill him. So he's trapped in the comics. So, Cybertronians on Earth know that they will go into stasis lock because they, don't have the power to stay on forever. So they decide to pour get all the energon from the Cybertronians and put it into a Guardian, which will look over the Harvester and make sure that that the Fallen stays trapped, and hope that some of the Primes off-world will, they'll realize what's going on, and they'll, try to prevent the Fallen from killing the world. So, they can't, they have to keep the Harvester online because they have to keep them trapped. So they do that. They pour all of their energon into Mirage. Mirage being able to cloak anything and disappear and shit. Yeah, he's going to be the Guardian. And Perceptor, being like this guy, really small, doesn't really take a lot of energon, so he can be alive also. All the other big Cybertronians have to go into stasis lock. And they all they build a tomb, which will be Metroplex, and it's like a small base, and they put it in the Atlantic Ocean or the Mediterranean, and that would be Atlantis, in which, according to, I think, Plato, or some Greek, sank about 9,000 BC, which would be about 10,000 years ago or somewhere, give or take, about the time the Allspark landed on Earth. So, the Allspark sank Atlantis, which were the Transformers. Come by. Let's see. So, yeah, they're all at the bottom of the ocean. Back on Cybertron, the Fallen, being trapped, still able to communicate via the monolith and Seeker's Temple, gives Starscream a bunch of instructions, being that Starscream is now like the de facto leader of Cybertron, given that Megatron doesn't exist yet, and the Fallen's, trapped, and the other Primes are dead. So he becomes the leader, and I wish she would stand up. Okay, well, she's standing up there. So Starscream has a few orders. He has to make sure that the history or the memory of the Primes and the legacy of them has to be controlled and erased from most of the Cybertronians' memory, and he has to send the Seekers to Earth and to build a ship and get it ready to pick up to go back and look for the Fallen to rescue him. And he also has to make sure that Cybertron is stable. So the Fallen tells Starscream that he needs to pull one spark from. He needs the Keepers to pull a Prime spark from the Allspark to have as a leader. So they will, but only one, because he doesn't want too many Primes, and he doesn't want to be challenged and beaten. But Megatron should know that he's a leader, like a Prime or something like that. So when Hound is back on Cybertron with the Decepticons, he knows that they're fucked up. So he has the Keepers he tells Alpha Trion to go into hiding, and yeah, because the Fallen just killed all the other primes and stuff like that, and be careful and stuff like that. So yeah, so Alpha Trion knows what the fuck's going on. They start the Keepers start energizing the Seekers and the other Cybertronians using the Allspark and stuff like that. But Starscream is supposed to have the Keepers killed because they know about the other primes and the history and stuff like that, so they didn't want any kind of record keepers or anything like that. So Unicron, as not being satisfied with just the Transformers and the Fallen trying to get the Allspark and kill Primus, also sent to other creatures, other beings, to get the Allspark, which are the beings that the Transformers fought in the comic books. Those other creatures. Those creatures are also after the Allspark because of Unicron. So Starscream uses the attacks from the creatures to kill try to kill all the Keepers and stuff like that. And this war is a perfect way to kill off people and blame it on someone and control the flow of information. The Keepers are not allowed to pull another spark. They're being held in protective custody, being manipulated by the Decepticons. However, Alpha Trion was able to pull the Prime Spark of Optimus Prime and put it into a spark housing, and then build him away in secret. So Optimus Prime doesn't know he's a Prime. Yeah, and Alpha Trion goes into hiding. So what is a transformer? Let me just explain that. A transformer would be a spark or some consciousness residing in some kind of housing and inside of an exoskeleton. For example, you can upgrade yourself and you can change out parts. What happens if you chop off a transformer's head is that his senses are gone. So he doesn't really have a way to sense the world, so he would just shut down or go into stasis lock. He's just like a somebody without any sensory deprivation, You don't know anything. So you'd be like a turtle back in his shell. Yeah, so yeah, it's the way to kill a transformer would be if you broke the spark housing, which is what happened to Jazz. His spark returned to raw energon. So when the Nexus Maximus is the keeper of raw energon. So he's the father of the Keepers. They can manipulate the raw energon. They're the ones who pull the sparks. They're the ones who do that kind of stuff. So, once the spark housing is destroyed, the spark, resorts back to its raw energon state. And Jazz was in that state. So his spark couldn't be, they didn't have a keeper to manipulate the raw energon. Megatron was just in stasis lock when the Allspark transformed into Megatron, which I'll get to later. Let's see. So yeah, they pull Megatron. Optimus Prime is also in existence now, and Starscream is manipulating Megatron somewhat. You know, he's like, oh, you know, that we need to do this, and Starscream had sent the Seekers back to Earth to find out what happened. They sent Skywarp, and he being really fast and being able to warp, got there about 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago is when the pyramids were built. The oldest one is about 3,000 years BC. I think it's 2,700 years BC. So, and that pyramid had the Decepticon logo on it, so that had to be a Decepticon with the logo on his chest inside of a pyramid or related to a pyramid. So, when Skywarp came to Earth, he knew the location of the Harvester. So even Mirage's cloak didn't work against Skywarp, but Mirage being Mirage, you know, he just kills Skywarp because he's invisible. So Skywarp is down. The pyramid is built. Skywarp is entombed. The logo of the Decepticons is placed on the pyramid, and Mirage camouflages the pyramid so it looks like normal. He also starts Sector 1, which is to look over, to watch the skies and stuff like that. Make sure you know, the Seekers don't come and kill Earth. So that's the origin of the sectors. There are sectors all over the world, just to, you know, Sector 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, and so on. So, yeah, so then Hound, having told Alpha Trion to go into hiding, he leaves Cybertron and tries to rally some of the other off-world primes. There were primes which were off-world, but they weren't the original 13. Primes, like I've stated, are just mature sparks inside the Allspark, which have been put into like a hatchling or some kind of built or something like that. So then Hound reaches Earth, and Hound and Mirage are fighting the Seekers as they land. Jetfire landed about 3,000 years ago, being manipulated by Starscream, thinking he's doing, you know, good, and not being off-world, and the only information he has is, you know, contact with back on Cybertron. And so he's kind of neutral, or kind of, you know, he's the Fallen's apprentice, so he kind of leans, okay, I'll do whatever. So it's kind of like in that, like, I forgot the D&D term, but a little bit bad, or a little bit controlled by the Fallen. So Jetfire lands on Earth, and then all of the Seekers that land on Earth get shut down by Mirage and Hound. And this would be about the time where humans were fighting dragons and demons and all this stuff, which would play well with you know, Hound and Mirage being magicians and magical somethings. So they shut them down. Mirage and Hound don't know about Megatron, or they don't know about Optimus Prime or anything like that, because they left before they were created, and before the Civil War and all that other stuff. So yeah, the Allspark, when the Allspark landed, they're like, well, okay, well, shit, so, you know, somebody's, you know, the Allspark is here. Why the fuck is the Allspark here? There's nobody to accompany it. they know the Allspark is on Earth, and they know Seekers are coming, which are bad guys. So they're fighting them, and they're just waiting for, the good guys to come. The chronologically, I'm staying chronologic. So once Megatron takes power, and so many millennium have gone by, years of fighting and war, and the people who knew anything about the primes and all the keepers, they're silenced, they're gone, they're imprisoned or something like that. Every time there's an inquisition as to, what happened to the primes and stuff, the Decepticons would say something like, the person with that information has been killed in the war, unfortunately, but we'll launch an investigation to find out. So there is an ongoing, investigation as to what happened, to the history and stuff like that. But it is very much controlled. So Optimus Prime is, an archaeologist and, digging up stuff like that. So Megatron also, not knowing who he is also told, very little about his past. And Megatron is a Prime, which will be used as a puppet to control Cybertron, and also, if needed, his spark will be added to the Matrix and to form a new Matrix if needed. So he's just like a guinea pig or something. So Megatron, they uncover the monolith. Megatron is also corrupted by the Fallen, under the Fallen's control. They build the spaceship to go rescue the Fallen. The Fallen it's been so many years, but the Fallen isn't all that pissed off because he needed that time to make the history of the Primes, gone from memory, and nobody knows what the fuck. And so, in a sense, Starscream did a good job, even though it took fucking forever. And so they go over to get the Fallen, and Optimus Prime, they have that Civil War. They eject the Allspark. The Allspark travels over to Earth. I think you can follow what I'm saying. They had the Civil War. The Allspark was sent to Earth. The Allspark lands on Earth, and Mirage is the only Cybertronian alive on Earth, and Perceptor as Guardian. And that sinks Atlantis. Millennium after that, 5,000 years after that, Skywarp lands on Earth. Because he was sent way before long before the Megatron was made and anything like that. Then the other Seekers, which were off-world, which were closer to Earth, they start landing. There was that big Civil War. They all leave. They all leave Cybertron, and it takes fucking forever. It takes about 10,000 years for them to get from Cybertron to Earth by ship. The other Seekers arrived faster because they were sent before there was Civil War and all that other stuff. The Autobots and the Decepticons are going after the Allspark. Of course, the Decepticons know where it is. It's on Earth. They swing by Earth on the way to rescue the Fallen from the transceiver. They drop off a whole bunch of Decepticons to find out what happened to the Seekers and what they know and anything like that. And those were the ones that went in the first movie. Find Megatron and all that stuff. So they, Starscream, a whole bunch of them go. The rest of the people, they travel over to the Fallen to release the Fallen. The Doctor and all those other people, they go over the Scalpel. Those guys go over there to release the Fallen from the transceiver. There's the Decepticons build a space bridge on Mars, and the events of movie 1 happen. Ah, shit! I skipped over the Project Black Knife. Okay, back to the Seekers. So the Seekers are being killed by Mirage and Hound on Earth a long time ago. Like they were demons and dragons and stuff like that. They're being killed. About maybe 1,500 years ago, before Columbus and before any of those people, Hound takes the corpses of the Seekers that they have killed and goes over to the Mayan Empire, gets them away from Europe. Mirage stays in Egypt to cloak the Harvester, but he has to go offline because he's running out of. He's gonna just go offline and stay in there. Hound over in the Mayan Empire tells him, okay, well, I'm gonna go offline here. I'm gonna go into stasis lock, self-induced stasis lock, to save energy and stuff like that, and you guys wake me up. The Mayans should wake them up if the Seekers come to, if there are any more Seekers. But Columbus and all the Europeans came and they killed all the Mayans, and the Mayan Empire was destroyed, so the information was lost. The sectors sent a bunch of expeditions to find out what happened to, the protectors in, all over the world. They sent all those expeditions. They found the Egyptian markings and all this other stuff. And they found Megatron, and they did that. So they found some, but they didn't find the protectors, Hound and whatever, Mirage. Well, they can't find Mirage because he's Cloakmaster. So Hound gave the humans, the Mayans, the sliver to wake them up when the Seekers came, when the big meteor came and stuff like that. He also told them about around 2010, 2012, the ship should might be able to come here or something like that. Maybe he told them the Doomsday, there was Cybertronians coming back to Earth. It's kind of, I don't know if that will really work, the whole Mayan Doomsday thing, but it might work. So Sector 7, having found Megatron, the government was funding Sector 7, but Salazar and Simmons' father wanted to know more information but they weren't able to activate Megatron because it was deemed too dangerous. So he was, they couldn't control him, and the government wouldn't allow it. So they ran their own covert operation, which was to find the Protector, and they found Hound and a bunch of Seekers, and they separated them out and reactivated them individually apart from the other ones under, control the way Salazar activated Wreckage in the comic books. So he interrogated Hound and all the other ones Hound, being smaller than the Seekers, was the first to be taken out of stasis lock, and he told them don't activate the other ones because they're bad. And he said, I've been protecting this world. I left markings and at the pyramid back in Egypt, but he didn't know what they called it, so he called it the dagger's tip, because English wasn't around at that time. So it's like, well, this is what, that's what we used to call it. I don't know what the fuck you call it now, but so he used ancient language translated into English as because countries change and something like that. So he used ancient references. Then Salazar and Simmons interrogated the other Decepticons, and they interrogated Jetfire, and they asked him what he knew about the dagger's tip and all this other stuff. And so Jetfire knew, the dagger's tip, and Jetfire also knew about the key, because they told him, you need to find the key, because, the primes are probably in stasis lock, unfortunately, but it's important to find the key and see what you can, as a good thing, hey, help the Cybertronians find the key, and we can save the world, save Cybertron. So Jetfire thought he was, on a good mission or something like that, but turned out he wasn't. Then the Decepticons try to break away, set themselves free, and find Megatron. And so Salazar and Simmons' father, they release Hound. He fights off and puts the Transformers back into stasis lock, the Decepticons back into stasis lock. This was around 1960, 1965, because Blackbird was the Blackbird is what Jetfire transformed into, and that was, I think the prototype was around 1964. So that had to be around that time. The project is put into mothballs, and all the Seekers are put away, and it's all swept under the rug. And but Hound is he's mortally wounded, and he has to go back with a Perceptor back to the Mayan Empire, and where he will wait. And he gives the humans the sliver and tells them, okay, this sliver is encoded with the location of the key. Please give it to the good guys who are fighting these guys. And Hound found out about the Witwiki and Megatron and the grandfather getting zapped by Megatron, and turned out the grandfather had some kind of DNA sequencing thing that allowed him to interact with Cybertronian information, and it was passed on. It's hereditary. And so Sam has its very rare thing where every other fucking human could fucking get zapped by the Allspark, which didn't seem to happen because, they're fucking working with the Allspark forever. So, very rare thing. That particular piece of, that sliver was encoded to interact with Sam only, and only with Sam. And give him the information. Even though it makes the humans crazy, it's better to have the information with the human than with the Transformer, which they can suck out his brain, they can download his information, which he didn't want. So they didn't want to have the location of the key with any Cybertronian. So later on, once they find out that Sam and the Autobots are friends, and oh yeah, Hound also sent a message to try to send a message to Cybertron, which was picked up by a breakaway here, which was a seeker, but was a spy for Optimus Prime. That message was with Sam and all the stuff was relayed back to Optimus, and they found out where they had a word of a new discovery sent us to fucking Earth. So Optimus Prime and the Autobots found out about the Allspark and go to Earth because of the signal that was relayed to them by their spy. And so the first movie starts, and I think that also explains why there wasn't a Fallen in the second movie, or there was a few people in the first movie, because they had just dumped off some people and they were going over to rescue the Fallen. So at the second movie, the Fallen comes back. They use the space bridge. He comes back. They get the Nexus, Nemesis comes back, and with a bunch of hatchlings. The hatchlings are just another way to build a Transformer exoskeleton, modifying the existing material and maybe growing a exoskeleton in a way, like budding, like plants do. And I think that's pretty much it for the first half of why everything is so fucked up. Yeah. And what they find, of course, I've told you, at the end of the second movie, they leave. Megatron and Starscream and whoever else is operational, they go back to the Nemesis, and what do they find in the pyramid? Well, they find Mirage and Skywarp in the pyramid. Because then the humans and nobody could have ever detected it because of Mirage's excellent camouflage. And then part 3 begins. So that's enough for that shit. That's about 50 minutes. And now it's just me talking. It'd probably go a lot faster if I just showed you pictures. But I have to explain everything. So, alright guys. This was a long story before we even get to part 3 of the movie. Alright guys. Let me know what you guys think. I'll push this up right now, I guess. Bye-bye.